Welcome to episode 4, Jellyfish the Podcast, Jellyfish Autistic Development Resource Center. This is an idea for a business that I have that I am starting with a podcast for the first at least year to talk about this idea, because ideas for me take a while to formulate. I need to really nurture them and make sure I understand all aspects of what it's needing before we take the next steps to get it up and off the ground. Oh, you happen to notice that I'm in a business suit, business attire, remember, official business. Well, I actually have real business to discuss today. I have a business plan, and I've got some descriptions for jobs, and got a whole lot of stuff that'll make you think, hey, that is something I might want to pursue. And as you can see from my amateurness, there's shadows being cast left and right, because I'm still new with technology. And you may notice I'm in a new setup. This is my office, my home office, with my grandfather's grandfather clock. So trying to make it mixed up a little bit, I decided to staying in the linen closet. Obviously, is not very professional. That was just a starting place. Like a lily pad. We'll say a lily pad, just jumping off the lily pad. But at least we're up and off the ground, and we're ready to go. So we're ready to take those next steps to discussing how this is going to become a viable business entity option. And just a secret, it may never be a real business. I hope that's not the case. I hope this does turn later, 5-10 years down the road, maybe it'll go into a legitimate business. And somebody will take this idea and run with it. Might be me, maybe somebody else. There may be somebody else out there listening from another state, another country, that also has a business idea in their head that they're thinking, hey, I want to know what it would take to just discuss every aspect of this business planning that you could possibly discuss to prepare yourself to succeed in that niche or whatever that sector of business is that you're pursuing. And this is just a framework, just a model, something to parallel other businesses off of. That's how I wanted to start this idea. I wanted to use other people's examples of business that they've started, or maybe they've had an idea that felt like it was kind of pulled out of nowhere, out of the sky. And when you're creative, and when you have about 1,000 ideas running through your mind every other second, it's easy to get distracted or to not, feel like you even know where to start. If you're overwhelmed with all the to-dos, you may not ever get started with step number 1. And that's, for me, part of this. It's almost a therapeutic business process, just talking it out. Going to business therapy today just to talk about the idea. Treating the business as if it's a relationship early on, though. I think that's something that I want to try to convey. I did discuss that in one of my previous episodes about it. When you start a business and you're excited about something, you feel the tingle inside, like your first crush. Well, now we've went on that first date. We like the person. We want to see where this is going to go. That's where we're at in this stage of the business, is we're getting closer and closer to the idea. What's it going to manifest itself as? So, as I always use AI, I asked AI, help me reword the way that I introduce this concept to the world. And it responded with, at Jellyfish, we believe in embracing neurodiversity and empowering individuals with autism and neurodivergent abilities to thrive in a world that celebrates their unique strengths and talents. Our holistic approach to support revolves around 3 foundational pillars, each designed to provide comprehensive care, guidance, and resources to individuals and families on their journey. And if you haven't watched the previous episodes, Jellyfish is an idea that I had for a business. The actual name of it is Jellyfish Autistic Development Resource Center. Kind of describes what the business is, but here's the 3 pillars, and this is what we plan to offer. And I speak in the collective we a lot, and it's just me, it's just my idea right now, but eventually it'll get more and more traction, and more people will become involved, and the idea will grow. And that's probably how any business started, just as an idea. And it may have been one person or a group of people, and they planted the seed in the ground, they gave it water, and they nurtured it with what it needs: nutrition, sunlight. And now it's up and growing, and it can support itself a little more. And that's the goal. But this introduction, I use AI to help me generate these. So here's the little intro of those 3 pillars. Counseling services. Our licensed therapists and counselors specialize in providing personalized counseling services tailored to the unique needs of individuals on the autism spectrum and with neurodivergent abilities. From individual therapy sessions to family counseling and group support, we offer a safe, nurturing environment for personal growth, emotional well-being, and holistic development. So counseling services, ding, that's one pillar. Number 2, STEM stations, not science, technology, engineering, and math, but STEM as an abbreviation for STEMming. So these STEM stations, or sensory stimulation stations, step into our innovative STEM stations and embark on a sensory journey designed to engage, soothe, and stimulate senses. Our state-of-the-art sensory equipment and interactive activities cater to individuals for all ages, providing a space for relaxation, exploration, and sensory integration. Oh, that's going to be fun. This does piggyback on science, engineering, math, technology. It piggybacks on the other STEM. It's just a different type of STEM. Whether you're seeking moments of calm or sensory-rich experiences, our STEM stations offer a sanctuary for self-discovery and sensory wellness. So these STEM stations are going to be individual places, just like I described. I described the space-wise as like 20 by 20 feet, so that anybody with any ability physically can get in there with, adults, children, no matter what the age, and can experience it. And we're talking, just for example, let's do physical sensation, the touch. Well, jellyfish are cool, and they've got those prongy legs, the little squidbilly legs and everything. That feels cool. And if it was in a real life, like jelly toy or squishy toy, you've seen those squishy toys now. What if there were 1,000 of them lining the walls in this brightly lit LED glass encased thing that had those tentacles coming out? And that's the introduction to the jellyfish of just touching. But not all the STEM stations have to do with jellyfish at all. Jellyfish is just an idea for the name of it because jellyfish learn through adaptive behaviors and don't have the typical brain structure that we think of like we do. But they're still some of the most brilliant creatures out there. And I drew that parallel with that type of community. The autistic neurodivergent community, they have such abilities that I believe we can all tap into to help us all become even more better at what it is we do just to be a human in life. But a way to share those abilities in a safe environment. So these STEM stations allow students to STEM, whether it's physical touch. Let's go to the next STEM station. Maybe it's, I've described rainforest before, and it's a sensory sound. So you're hearing the birds caw in the background, and you're hearing the jungle sounds, and a light mist is falling, and you smell dirt and earth from the jungle, and you see the monkeys, and it's like LED boards that can change their picture on the inside, and they're 3D. They operate as 3D, so when you're standing in there, you can see a monkey flying through the jungle, and you're in there immersed in it, and it's sight and sound. And then maybe you go to another one, and it's just a sequence of slow, gentle, warm lights, and it's warm, and it radiates warm heat. Or smell. Maybe there's a smell station that look like noses, those big noses on the Nickelodeon show. You stuck your head up in that nose and then you saw goo or a prize or whatever. Something cool like that to get in. And it can change. And it'd be like, oh, it's bubblegum flavor, yay! Or, oh, it's banana, or rotten banana, or rotten fruit or something, Utilizing all those different senses. And also having an individual experience. Maybe there's headphones that people put on when they go in so it's private and it's just within themselves that they're experiencing it. Or maybe there's a relaxing hypnosis area that looks like the ocean floor, and the LED in there is changed to a bright oceanscape where you're seeing nothing but the horizon and ongoing flat water, and you hear the crystal clear crashing of blue ocean waves, and you smell salt and seawater in the air, and there's a breeze blowing from fans, and maybe there's a gentle storm, thunder that comes through and it drops rain droplets. Sensory stations can be chill out stations, and I'm thinking of these as something to occupy kids and people when they're waiting on their therapy or their therapist, or if they've just come because their family needs to take advantage of the resources, their community resources, right? Maybe their mom wants to check out a bunch of pamphlets or join a seminar for 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, great. Where do you go? Go to the STEM stations, and it's not babysitting. It will be safely monitored with security and credentialed like emergency team that can handle stuff like any kind of emergency that happened. But I'm thinking like 18 to 20 something lifeguard type to where they come and they monitor and they watch people, and they're there to assist if anything happens. If a mess happens, somebody spills a drink or pukes, you got to be prepared for everything. They can help clean it up. They're staffed to do that. That's what the STEM stations are. And all of this is housed in a renovated, gigantic big box store like Toys R We, or you know what I'm saying. One of those big, like a big Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that. If it's closed and the business is vacant and there's nothing in there, gutting it and then retrofitting it to have this beautiful 2-story. Upstairs is the counseling stations, downstairs is the STEM stations, and at the front is the community resource center. That's where check-in happens, security checks happen, memberships can be discussed, things like that. And then once you pass security and you're able to go into the safe, secure STEM station play area or upstairs to counseling, then you and your child can roam freely in there. And having parent pod STEM stations as well, that's another idea. But anyway, number 2 pillar, STEM stations. So counseling services, number 1, 2 is STEM stations. And number 3, community education and resources. That's where the Autistic Development Resource Center comes into play. Community education and resources. At Jellyfish, we're committed to fostering a supportive and informed community through our comprehensive education and resource center. From workshops and seminars to online resources and community events, we provide valuable information, guidance, and support to individuals, families, educators, professionals, interested in autism awareness and advocacy. Very important. Together, we can create a more inclusive and understanding society where every individual has the opportunity to shine. Join us at Jellyfish as we embark on a journey of empowerment, support, and celebration of neurodiversity. Explore our website to learn more about our services, meet our team, and discover how we can support you on your unique path. So that's the 3rd pillar, community education resources. There will be workshops for families, to come and get information on how to help develop those life skills in students that might be needing them from age 8 to 25, if that age range works loosely. It may need to be adjusted. We may need to focus on just a different demographic to start out with, maybe college-age young adults to start out with. I don't know. That's why I want to be flexible with this business idea. And this podcast is to introduce that and to share that with other people. So I really appreciate the engagement that I've had with the audience so far. The audience meaning just whoever's watching. I mean, if I can get like 4 views, I'm happy with that. It's not about the views. It's not about the money. In fact, I have no means to actually get this off the ground just yet. It's just an idea. And it's for fun. It's a little hobby on the side just to have something to help occupy my time, because I like doing research and I like fighting for a cause and being an advocate for something. So that's why this came about in my world, and I say this I think on every episode, it has a personal connection to me. I've suffered with ADHD my whole life, and I'm very neurodivergent myself, as are a lot of the people in this community that are living lives, productive lives, through those challenges. But there are some students who may be at an age in their journey where they don't have the resources or means, or their family doesn't just have that community to share ideas, share thoughts, recommend doctors, have physicians, recommend counselors, psychologists, things like that. That's what this is about. And I'll go into much further detail with more of my business that I have printed here. All right. So we already discussed the 3 pillars. Organizational chart. This is, again, loosely how it goes. I want to underline my theory for a business is a new age concept that is reliant on giving the staff a lot of responsibility and respecting each other's time and responsibility in that way, and working cohesive as a team. So it's a new age concept, something that may not even exist yet. One of the things, I've said this before, unlimited leave time. Look at the structure of the corporate Casper, how they have unlimited leave time. If you need time off, or if you've got a special event coming up, take it. We'll work with you around that. But it's communication that's key, letting people know that. You think, oh, would people abuse that? Well, they might, and if so, if they don't want to be there, they don't have to come back. That's the thing. You have free will in this. Choice, that's a big part of this. You need to make sure it's your choice to be part of this community or work at this place. And the moment that stops happening, if your heart's telling you something's not right, that's when you should share that, so that we as a community of workers can come together and say, is there something we can do to help? Is there nothing we can do to help? Have they had a change of heart? Do they need to pursue other options? That's the kind of, thought that I have when it comes to that kind of stuff, because it's supporting who the person really is. truly just being honest about it. And that's the easiest way to be. So, again, loose structure, but here goes. Jellyfish organizational chart, the org chart, jargon, business jargon. Org chart is, we just speak the language. Big business. President. Okay. Oh, founder and CEO. Me, I'm founder. I'm the CEO, I guess. President oversees overall operations and strategic direction of the company. This is a presidential role. Collaborates with the CEO on business planning and development. Acts as a liaison between different departments and ensures alignment with the company's mission and goals. Very simple. Loosely put together. Again, this is not in stone. I want it to be flexible and malleable so we can all agree on something together with the board. Counseling services, licensed psychologist, oversee counseling services and clinical operations. I want to talk to licensed psychologists, not only those that are my friends that I have out there in the real world, in the professional world, but and personal world, but those that are across the country and doing new wave stuff with their therapy. And licensed psychologists are out there, and I think there may be a very niche sector of them that are also neurodivergent themselves. And if they would feel, I'm killing this microphone. I'm trying to do this. I don't know that it's going to work. I'm trying. If I'm making a bunch of bad sounds, sorry about that. There may be people that have just graduated college, that have their degree, they have their experience, they have their certifications and credentials, but they don't have a means to get started maybe with their own place, or they want to piggyback on a company. I had somebody bring this up to me recently. They said, well, what makes you think they would want to come work for you when they could just do this on their own? That's a very valid and good point. I can answer it, and it may resonate with people, it may not, but it's because of who we are. Who you are makes you special and makes you want to contribute to the world in that special way. Who I am is different and weird and strange. That's what I think of myself. But I'm also very good with people, and I like bringing people together in some sort of a team like this. I like thinking out of the box. I'm creative. That's why I say I'm weird, because I'm just constantly thinking of creative, different ways to do stuff. But I like that. That's what makes me who I am. And I can run from it and try to hide from it and fit in a box, and not going to be happy doing that. So, being a creative person, having an outlet to express it, that's so much fun. I like that. And who I am with this business organization is just that. I want to bring that together with people that are licensed and have those credentials. If they're interested, if they're willing, I could learn a lot from them, and I'm sure they could learn from me. If nothing else, for fun. So, because I am fun, I like to have fun. But anyway, counseling service. So we covered the licensed psychologists. Counselors provide individual and group counseling sessions for individuals with autism and neurodivergent abilities. Counseling coordinator manages scheduling, client intake, and administrative tasks related to counseling services. So that's the counseling sector. The STEM station sector is going to be staffed by a STEM director, and they develop and implement STEM station programs and activities. For this position, we're looking for somebody who is technology savvy, super fun and creative, childlike in their thinking, structured with how they approach tasks and projects, and they may need a project manager to piggyback with them, because you may have a project manager who is right brain, and then you may have an engineering major who is left brain, and they come together and they work well together, but they have to understand how they're going to work together and respect that. So that's what I'm looking for. Artists, people who are artists that can work collaboratively with technology experts and come up with cool things. How fun is that? Just dream of that. And the other fun part about this, money is no object, quite frankly. Not because we don't have any, which that's true, but imagine, if you will, a business that you could go into and say, I have all the money in the world, and I want to make this happen, and I want to do it right. How would you do it? That's what this is. That's Jellyfish. That's Jellyfish the Podcast, is exploring that. So obviously it's going to take a ton of money to get this up and off the ground that I don't have yet. But by talking to people and generating that interest, we can start that groundswell, and people who will have those resources can connect those to others like me. So that's what this is about, and you could do that in your community too. Anyway, I get excited. I get super overexcited about stuff. But all right, so that was the STEM stations. The STEM director develop and implement STEM station programs and activities. A STEM specialist provides guidance and support to individuals using STEM stations. So those could be an active college student or somebody like that. STEM technicians maintain and ensure the functionality and cleanliness of STEM equipment and facilities. So the technicians, they need to be able to operate it. So like if a ride at the theme park is down. They all come in and fix it, something like that. And I'm trying to find the right lighting. I've also got another phone going over here recording, so I'm trying to do a little bit of both and mix it up and get better with the recording. But for right now, it's still going to just kind of be a little bit amateur. But that was STEM stations, community education and resources. This third pillar, what does that staff look like? A STEM director. Crap. I was so hyped up on reading it right, I read the exact same thing again. Community education resources. We need an education director. They develop and implement educational programs and resources for the community. A community outreach coordinator. They establish partnerships with schools, community organizations, and other stakeholders. That is important. That needs to be like a politician-like personality. Somebody who can get along with anybody and loves talking to people, but also knows how to be a business developer and can sell a product like what we're trying to offer through Jellyfish. And I'm worried about this thing. It's just driving me crazy. I'm obviously not going to be wearing a suit every time, just this time. And also under the community education resources, we need a resource specialist to provide information and support to families and individuals seeking resources related to autism and neurodiversity. I have somebody in mind for that, somebody that serves as like a welcome center attendant that has a great personality and wants to share information with other moms or dads in that same boat and says, here, this is a good resource, or here's some good contacts, or we're organizing this summer camp. We would like input as to what your student needs help with. Or we're organizing this parent camp, which is really like an evening workshop, a couple hours a night, where they come in and get pampered and then build up towards going into the new school year. So here's that. All right. So that was the staff for those 3 pillars. Next, I asked for credentials for those. So what are the credentials? You've got to be credentialed. Licensed psychologist, doctoral degree, PhD or Psych D in clinical psychology or a related field. State licensure as a psychologist, specialization or experience in working with individuals on the autism spectrum and neurodivergent populations. Knowledge of evidence-based practices for counseling and therapy. If we're going to get the buy-in of the city and of different organizations, you have to back up your information. It's got to be legitimate. And this is a way to legitimize that, is having true credentialed people. They know what they're talking about. All right, counselors, master's degree in counseling, psychology, social work, or related field. State licensure or eligibility for licensure as a counselor or therapist. It's got to be above board. It's got to be. Specialization or experience in working with children, adolescents, and young adults on the autism spectrum. Training and counseling techniques. Hang on, I just skipped all. Okay, no, yeah, I was still under the counseling. Sorry, I was reading that too quickly. So under the counselor's master's degree, state licensure, specialization or experience in working with children, training and counseling techniques and interventions specific to autism spectrum disorder. So that's a big thing. They need to have experience or guidance throughout this to serve as an expert. Because if you're going to offer this as a service, you better have your stuff together. And that's where having the right people with the right credentials comes into play and matters a lot. So, and the counseling coordinator needs to have a bachelor's or master's degree in psychology, social work, counseling, or a related field. They need experience in coordinating counseling services or programs, strong organizational and administrative skills, knowledge of mental health resources and referral networks. STEM director, so that was the counseling. We can add to it, take away, but that's a starting place. STEM director, bachelor's or master's degree in psychology, occupational therapy, special education, or related field. They need experience in developing and implementing sensory stimulation programs. That's interesting if that actually exists out there. Knowledge of sensory integration theory and techniques, leadership and supervisory experience. Correct. STEM specialist, bachelor's degree in psychology, special ed or related field, experience working with individuals with sensory processing challenges, training in sensory integration techniques and sensory-based interventions, ability to provide guidance and support in a sensory-friendly environment. The STEM technicians, high school diploma or equivalent, experience in maintenance and repair of sensory equipment. Hopefully the people that are help be technicians will have also contributed to making it so they'll know how it works. I think that would be really cool. Attention to detail and the ability to ensure safety and functionality of STEM stations. So the education director, master's degree in education, experience in curriculum development and educational program planning, knowledge of best practices in special education, autism education, leadership and collaboration skills for working with educators and community partners. That's very important. Community outreach coordinator, bachelor's degree in communications, marketing, public relations, or in a related field. Experience in community outreach, engagement, strong communication and interpersonal skills, and the ability to maintain relationships with diverse stakeholders. So that has to be a bubbly personality. Resource specialist, bachelor's degree in psychology, social work, or counseling, experience in providing information, support to individuals and families, knowledge of local resources and services for individuals under this spectrum. Administrative assistant, finance manager, human resources coordinator, marketing coordinator. The list goes on, and I just found myself getting bored reading that. I'm going to have this up on my website once the website is up and going, which I'm really excited about. It's going to look groovy, like really cool. It's going to look like what I want Jellyfish the building to look like, or at least the structure of it in my mind. And that's going to be, again, the starting point. I want people to contribute and add to it and say, hey, we could do things this way. Or, hey, I have developed many commercial properties, and here's how to jump through those hoops. Talking about it, learning that way, it's important. All right, and then the articles of incorporation. I think I'll save that for another day. So I've got a well-defined business plan. The executive summary is the overview of Jellyfish and its mission. Description of the target market, individuals with autism and neurodivergent abilities and their needs. Summary of the unique value position. So I asked AI to help me put together a well-defined business plan, and they came up with all this. Quite a bit. Executive summary, business description, market analysis, marketing and sales strategy, operations plan, financial plan, risk management, implementation timeline, and appendices. So throughout doing all of this and getting more and more research on it and finding other places that serve the mission of what we're trying to do here, I've seen that this is like a Pandora's box. It is rife with material, and it has a lot of potential, this opportunity does. I hope that I can convey that in a serious manner. That's why I wear a business suit today. But more importantly, I just hope this message conveys as honest and sincere of, this is just a fun business idea that I've had. I'd like to see if it's viable in the pretend world. And sure, if one day it comes to fruition, I think it could help a lot of people. But until then, I hope this is just entertaining, fun, educational. And I hope that it builds community too. Maybe this is a great starting place to build more of a community or connect. I said this in a previous video, but one of the students on that autism documentary, their parents were talking about how the student did so much better when they were surrounded by friends. Think about that. When you're surrounded by a network of people that love and support you, you do really well, or better than you would without. Is that safe to say? Now, yeah, there may be some people that have personality preferences. They don't like to be around a lot of people, and that's okay too. But we're talking about a dire development need. If there's a student who is lacking some sort of life skill, communication, ability to provide their own good life for themselves, I think that's where the concern, especially from parents, comes in at. You want to make sure your child can provide a good life for themselves. There are some of those children that they may never have the independence needed to tell people what they need for themselves. That's hugely important. Their safety is important. Help make decisions for long term and things like that. And just have a resource and a place where people could develop those skills and try. That's the whole point of Jellyfish. That's the heart of Jellyfish. So when we talk about Jellyfish as that, again, the baby Stretch Armstrong toy, this is nurturing the soul of it, the heart of it. So the funny thing is, the business part, the non-emotional part, right, is marrying with the heart of it. That's how I want to approach this business. Marrying those two things together can be a powerful thing, because when we're sitting at that big boardroom and we're making those big executive decisions, what we're thinking about is the children that it will impact, the students. And when I say kids, I'm talking to 18 to 25, because in my mind that is kids. It's probably just because I'm really old now and I view youngsters that way. I'm an old fogey now. So I'm thinking of how it's going to impact them. And I always want to keep that heart front and center when we're making business decisions, but we also have to be realistic. So when there comes financial aspects, we got to be logical about things. This is just my opinion on it, and I really do look forward to having some interviews on here. Temple Grandin, I'm going to shoot for a huge star on that one and see if I can't get her to talk to us, because look her up, Temple Grandin. She's got a ton of information. She was in a movie. She put together a lot, cattle, livestock, training and devices. Just an amazing genius in the field. And she proudly bears her autism with the world and shares it so that we can all learn from it. She talks about focusing as in a young age on the things that kids do well, things that they like, things that they do good. Just like Dr. Glenn told me when I graduated from Athens State, he said, do good work. And I thought that was a weird phrase, but now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, that's what he meant. Do good work. Do work that's fulfilling, that's good for the community, and that gives you a sense of purpose. So maybe this is some good work. Now, it may shift, it may change, it may turn into like a bakery. Who knows what the idea would ever come out to be. But this is how it's starting, and I really appreciate your input and your thoughts on this. So far, the community's been very supportive of this, and I appreciate that so much because it means a lot to know that anybody would even watch this video, much less think the idea is viable. So if it continues to have legs and grow, let's see where this goes. But right now, it's just in the little baby stage, so we're going to nurture it as such for the next couple years. I said 1 year to begin with. Now I'm thinking it's probably going to be like 3 or 4 of a podcast to get it up and going. So it becomes a regular thing. All the podcasts that I listen to that I really love, they're up and going because they do a regular thing. And so my frequency so far is just once a week because that's all that I can muster up with everything in life going on right now. But also, I think that might be a good thing because hearing this more than once a week may be overload, like drinking through a fire hose. So I appreciate you watching this far, if you are. I will have the website up and going soon. I'll have the name of the website, which I'm stoked about. I've already got the idea for the domain, if it's available. And also dreaming big, thinking forward. You know, the 2 next big cities. So Jellyfish HSV is the Huntsville campus. But the next 2 cities are Houston, Texas, for a very specific business reason that I'll tell you later, and you're going to laugh a lot. But it's true, Houston. So Jellyfish HSV, Jellyfish Houston. And the third one is Jellyfish London. How crazy cool is that? Remember, though, this is just an idea, and ideas can be as big and extravagant or as tiny and little as we want them to be. And I want this idea to grow internationally and franchise to where it's not just a popular thing here, but also can be viable in other countries where there may be students that are also dealing with these types of things. And the fun part there, that's going to be season 2, is I think season 2 needs to be a British version, talking to people from the UK who are in this field or any aspect of business because they can help me discuss it and get it off the ground. But it's just fun to transition from cultural changes. Like, I would love to know what cultural norms are like in business meetings in a place like London or England. 1, because I can speak the language, so at least I know I'll survive. But 2, when you're thinking about life and what life holds in front of you, and you get older, you start thinking about those dreams, and you're like, dang, I didn't really pursue that, did I? And then you kind of come back to them, and for me, this is one I would really like to pursue, even if just as an idea, because I feel like I'm living vicariously through it, and it's a blast. So, London, mate. Let's go to London as number 3, business in London. How cool would that be? It'd be fun. And I think there's a way to do it. You just have to figure it out. It's going to be talking with a lot of project managers, how things work over there. I mainly want to talk to people in business. If you're listening and you happen to be in business, if somebody told you no in business, or if somebody said, you're never going to succeed at that, or that's too much of a difficult task, and nobody would buy into that. Those crazy things, because there are viable businesses out there like that right now, those are the people I really want to talk to right now, because I want to hear how they overcame that. Why do they have tenacity that survived this far? That's what I'm asking about. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up a little bit early today because business, and business requires, sit-down meetings over coffee and multiple pieces of silverware. I like to put on a business show if I can, because it's fancy and serious. And it's funny that I'm professing this new way of business, but also in a very structured business suit that says, boring business. A walking contradiction, but aren't we all in many ways? So thanks for watching. Happy day to everybody, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks. On Jellyfish the Podcast, Jellyfish Autistic Development Resource Center. Ding. Pavlov's dog, remember? I only have 4 episodes, so I don't have a lot of stuff to go back to, but I try to reference the things that I'm wanting people to remember. So the name is one of them, and again, I talk about Bethany Frankel because she's a crazy, killer, good business person. I mean, unbelievable businesswoman. And she would say marketing, market that thing. So Jellyfish, Autistic Development Resource Center. More stuff coming soon. Thanks for watching. See you next week.